today at Row Crop U in Omaha, Nebraska, and visiting with Stevan Knezevic from University of Nebraska, and his topic today was herbicide-resistant weeds and dicamba. And we'll start with herbicide-resistant weeds. You talk about multiple herbicide resistance with one weed. What kind of problem is that?
Yeah, multiple resistance is basically when you find more than one type of resistance in a single plant species. So in our case, it's a water hemp. Everybody knows water hemp. And this is actually herbicides that develop resistance to 5 different modes of actions. We actually have 8 modes of actions out there, but 5 is where we've seen in neighboring states. In Nebraska, we have water hemp that's resistant to LS chemistry, HPPD chemistry, and glyphosate. Or we have population that's resistant to ALS, HPPD, and atrazine. So basically what it means is that you have a water hemp plant that you cannot kill with 3 different modes of action, at least in our state. In some of the neighboring states, we have water hemp that also has resistance to PPO and then also to 2,4-D. So that's like a 5-stack resistance in a single water hemp population. And that's very troublesome because we have only about 8 different modes of actions available for weed control. So just think about this. You have 8 tools in the toolbox. By the way, in Nebraska Weed Guide, we have about 700 and plus herbicides for weed control. But just think about this. Out of 700 and plus herbicides, all of them come from 8 different modes of action, that we have water hemp that's resistant to 5 of those. That's why that's troublesome, and that's why we gotta watch what herbicides we use and how we used, and pay attention to those modes of actions. Changing the name of the product, it doesn't mean that you're using a different mode of action. All that information is the Nebraska Weed Guide, which, by the way, 2018 book should be coming out in early January.
Okay, in today's presentation, you also touched on dicamba,
Yes.
an old product that's causing new problems. What are some things that growers need to know about dicamba?
Wow, where do you want me to start? See, DT soybeans is a new technology. It just hit the market this year, and we're going to see more next year. And it's going to give us another tool in the toolbox of weed control, because I'm not a believer of just like a one toolbox. You got to have multiple tools in the toolbox. However, there is an issue, several issues, major issues with the Camba. That product's been around for a long time. The older versions of the Camba, the new versions are less volatile than the old version, but they're still volatile. There is no such thing as a no volatile dicamba, so they all volatilize. So what you, as a farmer, in fact, the EPA made that product restricted use. So the best is to go and take training with your local states. In fact, in some states you'll have to do that. You won't have any options. And during that training process, you will learn about all these things: what is important, what is not, and what does it take for application. You're going to use a special nozzle. You have to watch the wind, speed, and directions. And then the biggest thing with the Camba is the volatility, which means you spray the product, and the product will have tendency to evaporate and volatilize and stay kind of hovering above the field, whatever your field or the neighbor field. And it's been documented that that volatility can last literally within the first 4 days of application. So you can spray today, and the thing is has a tendency to evaporate and volatilize within 4 days. So in those 4 days, if we get temperature inversion, if you have a drift moving one direction or the other, that cloud can move, and it's been known to move to a couple of even 3 miles. So if your neighbor sprayed from 3 miles away, that cloud can move and settle in your field. Obviously, the highest level of volatility will be within the first 24 to 36 hours, but it's been documented in the literature that can run up to 96 hours. So volatility is the biggest enemy of this technology, and we got to find a way to contain that.
All right, thank you. Again, we're at Row Crop U in Omaha, Nebraska, and visiting with Steve about herbicide resistance.